Welcome to our crash course on Stalin and the purges. Joseph Stalin's rise to power, his rivalry with Trotsky, the political purges in the 1930s, the unpersonal effect, the 5 years plans, showing how Stalin's leadership relied on fear, propaganda, control to shape the Soviet Union. Joseph Stalin was born in Georgia and led the Soviet Union from 1929 until his death in 1953. He became one of the most powerful and feared leaders in history. His main political rival was Leon Trotsky, who was born in Ukraine and played a major role in the Bolshevik Revolution and the creation of the early Soviet state. This is Joseph Stalin, and this is Leon Trotsky. After Trotsky's exile, Stalin continued to tighten his grip on the Soviet Union, removing anyone he viewed as a threat. He used fear and propaganda to maintain control, rewriting history to erase Trotsky and other rivals from the public memory. This set the stage for the Great Purges of the 1930s, when millions of citizens, government officials, and military leaders were accused of being enemies of the state and were executed or sent to labor camps.
The Communist Party was supposed to be a political organization where everyone talks things over and all were equal, but Stalin didn't want this. At first, it started out with him sending away families, little minor things, but it turned into millions of people being fired, killed, or put in jail because Stalin thought of them as a threat. Stalin would kill any party members that he saw as a threat to his power, specifically people in the communist power. When people were taken to jail, they would be put in cruel labor camps that were very abusive and would result in being killed and oh my gosh.
Just keep going. Keep going.
This would result in people being killed instead of being forced to go to labor camps. Whenever someone was convicted, Stalin would make them plead a fake case so that it wouldn't appear he was killing innocent people. The show trials were made to look like Stalin was catching the enemy, when really it was an excuse to kill people. The show trials would start with a man or a woman entered the room looking beat up and would go up to the podium to plead their case, their fake case. Then Stalin would make them recite a fake case, that they were the enemy, they did bad, they were disloyal, and they apologized. Then they would get taken out back and get shot. The purge resulted in millions of innocent people being killed. It also resulted in the Red Army becoming very weak. Because Stalin killed people who were smarter than him and more amiable, because he didn't like them having more power than him, so it would end up with all these very smart, good people in the army getting killed, and it would end up with all the dumb people being left over. But they followed Stalin, so that's all that he really cared about. So that's kind of why the Red Army became weak and why he killed people.
Like I said, Joseph Stalin would cut people out of photos and documents to show that they never lived, even though they did. He believed that if he murdered everyone that did not agree with him, then he would build a hierarchy of just him, and he would be the highest. He wanted it to be like a pyramid where he was at the top. Joseph Stalin believed that if somebody's names weren't in history books, then they did not exist. This is a photo before, up here. Now try to look at it for a couple of seconds and now see who disappeared. See if you can name it. Now that Stalin was in charge of Russia, he prioritized rapid growth of business income and focused on implementing a system that centralized economic growth and planning. He called the system the 5-year plans. These plans focused on industrializing rapid growth and in heavy industries such as steel and coal. Stalin worked hard to achieve this. However, in the process, he killed many people by forcing them into labor and working more than they should. This brutally caused many people to die due to overworking. Stalin's plan seemed to be working, however, it was at an immense human cost. People who disagreed with Stalin and his plans were targeted and soon deported or executed and named class enemies. Although many people were suffering and dying, Stalin's plan succeeded in raising the Soviet Union's industry. The Soviet Union gained good heavy industry and military equipment, which later supported them in World War II. Goodbye.
This is Joseph Stalin on March 6, 1953.